I'm Kelly Watson. In the beginning, my marriage was great. We lived in a fancy apartment in New York with a fantastic view. My husband, Tom, seemed perfect. However, I later found out he was consistently cheating on me. Every time I confronted him, he denied it, but the evidence kept popping up. I thought it might be some kind of problem he had, so I didn't immediately consider divorce, especially since I was pregnant. I hoped things would change after our child was born, but Tom's infidelity persisted. I felt stuck for the sake of our child. I convinced myself it was his illness, and I should endure it. After 7 years, Tom boldly introduced another woman as his lover and declared he wanted a divorce. It hit me harder than before because I had convinced myself his previous affairs were just flings. I tried to reason with him, bringing up our child, but he insisted on the divorce. He claimed our child was his but didn't seem to care much. Eventually, I received the divorce papers, thinking it was the end. I continued living in the apartment with my child. Then, unexpectedly, I got a message from Tom's lover, Mirabelle. She told me to leave the high-rise apartment because it was meant for her and Tom. She insulted me, calling me a single, broke mother who should find a more suitable place to live. She gave me a month to move out. I was left stunned, wondering how things had become so complicated. If Tom found out about this, we hadn't even settled alimony or child support. Yet she had the audacity to tell me to leave. She wasn't considering our child at all. Feeling utterly helpless, I stood in my house, struggling to reassure my anxious child that everything would be okay. Maybe I should start packing. I headed to the bedroom, recalling Tom's kind face from the early days of our marriage. Our life in the New York high-rise felt like a dream back then, thanks to his kindness. However, at some point, his attitude began to change. I had envisioned family trips and weekend drives after our child was born, but I couldn't even remember what we had actually done together. Instead, all I could think of was the pain when I first found out about Tom's cheating. Tearing up all his clothes changed nothing. We used to visit our parents' houses, but after our child was born, it was just me and the kid. Tom never joined us. I had to lie desperately for him, creating the image of a kind, hard-working father for our child. But it was all in vain. He never appreciated it. Instead, he laughed with that woman. Maybe I should have divorced sooner. Enduring all this seemed pointless. What was the point of these 7 years? Tears flowed, and I felt helpless. By not acknowledging his love, I had given Tom a justification for his cheating. He cheated because I didn't love him. That was his reasoning. I had merely given him an excuse to run away. How foolish. Maybe I was just finding excuses to not leave for our child. But can I really end everything now? I'm the one who suffered. If I let it end without doing anything, only Tom and that woman will be happy. Is that okay? I stopped packing. This can't be the end. If I'm just going to cry, I can do that anytime. So I'll get my revenge. I'll make them realize. With that thought, I grabbed my smartphone. Later, Tom and Mirabelle barged in, expressing impatience with my packing progress. Mirabelle accused me of being slow, questioning what I had been doing for an entire month. Tom, holding Mirabelle close, as if to flaunt their relationship, casually announced with a smile that they had gotten married. He added, "We're super in love now." Oh, congratulations. Jealous, huh? A new wife is always better, right? I sarcastically questioned if that was the only reason they came, to which Mirabelle clarified that they were there to check on my moving progress, as they planned to move in once I'd left. She instructed me to clean up and even suggested renovating the place for them. When they asked about my departure, pointing out that the 1-month deadline had passed, I assured them that I would take everything with me. As they scrutinized the belongings, Mirabelle noticed a vase and speculated on its value. Tom claimed that everything in the house, including the vase, belonged to him. I questioned if everything, even personal items, were his. Mirabelle asserted that everything was indeed Tom's, warning me not to steal anything. She believed that even if some items were fake, they could fetch a price. Tom bragged about the authenticity of the items, stating that they were all real and valuable. Mirabelle expressed her intent to sell everything. I raised doubts about Tom's interest in art and his ability to understand their value. Mirabelle defended Tom, claiming he asserted ownership of everything in the house, including valuable vases and paintings. I found it suspicious, given Tom's lack of interest in art, and suggested that I might be getting fooled. I'm not being deceived. He's a wealthy man. He could collect these items even without understanding their value. They might appreciate in the future, right, Tom? Tom awkwardly agreed, affirming his wealth. I had no idea. You divorced a wealthy man. Divorce was a mistake for you. Really? You divorced him. And now you're poor. Did he really have money? Of course, that's why we could live in this high-rise. I'm married to a wealthy man now. So for this past month, he's been letting you live in luxury. Well, we just divorced, so there's no money yet. But things will go back to normal soon. Why no money after the divorce? I haven't even received alimony or child support yet. Well, maybe there's some cash tied up elsewhere. Optimistic, aren't you? What about his job? What does your wealthy husband do? He must be really busy, right? He's taking time off for our new home. Off work for a new home? How interesting. He's kind because he wouldn't let me move alone, so he took time off. Moving could be done by professionals, but you choose to do it yourselves. Tough, isn't it? That's no, Mirabelle. It's important to handle important things ourselves, whether small or big. We believe in doing it ourselves. Yet when it was my turn, everything was left to professionals. And moving doesn't take a month. Why not just work? You don't need to worry about us. He knows what he's doing. And you shouldn't interfere with his work. Well, if you think so, that's right. Just because you were don't meddle. Once you're out, we'll move in and enjoy a comfortable life. We'll see how that goes. Something feels off here, right? Then the doorbell rang. When I checked the intercom, it was the movers I had requested. However, they were wearing suits, clearly not typical movers. As I let them into the house, the man pulled out a calculator and started pricing each item. Wait, they aren't movers. Movers don't usually show up in suits, do they? What's going on? Why is he putting tags on the base? He's an antique and art dealer, here to appraise and possibly buy these items. While he's at it, he's valuing the apartment too. Why are you doing this? Why don't you ask your beloved husband, Tom? I doubt he'll tell the truth, though. I questioned Tom about the situation, and he'd apologized, claiming he didn't know why she was doing this. You knew she was going to sell these. Call the dealer so you could get a cut from the sale. No way. I exclaimed. Then why? All of this is yours. You can't just sell it. Mirabelle explained. Well, actually, I bought all these things, but I can't keep them all in my new place, so I thought, why not sell them? Oh, I see. Property division, right? You're selling these because you divorced him and want to split the money. I don't want to give you half, but if it's property division, I guess I have to. Tom's wealthy anyway, so even if you get half, it won't bother him. I declared that I had no intention of splitting it, as all the artworks were bought by me before I married Tom, so there was no need for property division. No way, then leave them. This apartment is his. You should leave them here. Mirabelle nervously watched as more tags were placed. I found it amusing, wondering what Tom was thinking, as he remained silent. There'll be nothing left in the house, but they're all mine, so that's how it goes, Mirabelle. We're not losing the high-rise, no need to panic. But don't worry, I'll buy you whatever you want. If you can afford it, why not? Once the appraiser finished, he announced to me that the total value was over $1 million, as expected. Thank you for your hard work. When will you be able to collect everything? He replied that it would be in a day or two and left. In a day or two, these artworks would be gone, and I'd have to leave this apartment too. It meant tomorrow or the day after, so we could move by then. Yes, that's the plan. It'll feel empty without everything. But it means we can decorate with things we like. Mirabelle seemed to misunderstand something, and I warned her that if she didn't leave soon, she'd be forced out. Confused, she asked why, and I revealed, I just sold this high-rise. Why isn't this apartment Tom's? Why would you sell it, Tom? Why did you sell it? This apartment is ours. You're both mistaken. Do you know when we started living here? Right after we got married, right? The question is, when was it purchased? Right after we got married. Do you remember buying it? No, I think it was already there when we got married. I clarified. Exactly. I bought this apartment with my money before we got married. What do you mean? So when he said he wanted to live in a high-rise, I bought it. Now that we're divorced, it's up to me whether I keep living here or sell it. So you sold it? Yes, you told me to leave. And I don't want to stay in a place I lived with him. It's the perfect timing. I'm planning to move to a house I just signed for a new house and have already moved my things in. You bought a house? Yes, it was cheap. Only about $1.6 million. $1.6 million. So Tom's stuff is just the junk in the next room. Take it with you. It's a hassle to dispose of junk. Mirabelle rushed into the next room, finding several cardboard boxes. She hurriedly opened them, only to find actual junk. The clothes were mostly worn out. What is this? Tom's clothes? Why are they like this? I didn't throw them away because he said not to. A wealthy man wearing these ragged clothes? I wanted to let you keep dreaming until the end, but it seems that's not possible. What do you mean? He's not wealthy at all, just a poor guy. No way, just a pile of garbage. That's harsh. It's not a pile of garbage. These clothes are still wearable. Why? I thought he worked for a major corporation. He said he was the president. He was a temp worker at a big company. No way, a temp worker. Yep, and he got laid off right when you two got married. Why? How do you know this? Even I, his wife, didn't know because I'm the president of that company. I thought I might make him a regular employee if our marriage continued, but he never took his job seriously since he knew I was the boss. So I just kept him as a temp. I knew he couldn't afford a high-rise apartment on a temp salary, but since I have a high income as the president, I thought it was fine. He didn't tell anyone at work that his wife was the boss. It was convenient for both of us, especially since he didn't want people to know I was his wife while he was cheating. So what will happen to Tom now? His contract is over. He was supposed to have one more month, but he's been absent without leave, so it's over. I thought he was wealthy. The wealthy one is me. So you were deceiving me? Not really. If Kelly hadn't divorced, I'd still be a wealthy man by marriage. But Mirabelle wanted a divorce, so I agreed. And with that, I'm out of the wealthy bracket. So because his wife was wealthy, he's penniless. Yep, a super poor person. Yep, if you knew that, why did you sell the art? Because I can't keep them in my new house. You could have left them. That's not how it works. Everything here is mine. There's nothing here that belongs to you two. I'm just disposing of my own stuff. Tom, do something. I concluded, well, that's how it is. Nothing. We can do it. You're saying this to me. This is his high-rise, right? Say it is. It's not his high-rise. It's the high-rise I lived in with him. But I lived here too. I should have some right to stay. Oh, right. If he has the right to live here, we don't have to leave. Residency rights apply to rented properties. This is not a rental. I bought it in full before we got married. You left a month ago. You haven't lived here for a month. Where's the residency right in that then? Property division? I told you earlier. This apartment isn't a jointly acquired asset. It was bought by me before we got married. There's nothing to divide with you. You're penniless, and there's nothing I can do about it. Damn it! I thought we bought everything together. You never had that kind of money. You should take a good look at yourself. Tom seemed frustrated, trying to get something out of me. But with Tom's meager salary, there was no way he could afford anything, let alone own the apartment. Having faced this reality, the two of them left dejectedly. After a while, Tom contacted me again, asking where I was and admitting that he was out of money. I responded that it's none of his business where I live. Yeah, but I'm actually out of money. I know that already. What's your point? Tom explained that Mirabelle was blaming him for being broke, and his temp job had ended, leaving him unemployed. He asked if I could hire him at my company. I rejected the idea, stating that hiring my ex-husband was absurd. Tom mentioned that Mirabelle suggested it, thinking he'd be paid well as my ex-husband and the CEO of a large corporation. I found it ridiculous and pointed out that both Tom and Mirabelle were out of their minds. Tom pleaded for help, admitting that marrying Mirabelle was a mistake. He complained about not getting an allowance and asked for employment. I refused, stating that if I were to hire someone, it would be someone who actually works. Tom promised to work hard and even offered to write a pledge. I dismissed the idea, stating that even if he wrote a pledge, it wouldn't mean anything coming from him. Tom continued to plead, citing Mirabelle's potential anger if he didn't get a job. I remained firm, asserting that it wasn't my problem, and Tom had chosen his path. Tom expressed regret about his marriage to Mirabelle, revealing that she had a lot of debt and was on the blacklist of payday lenders. Surprised, I questioned why Mirabelle borrowed from such places, and Tom explained that she couldn't borrow from reputable sources as she never paid back. He revealed her intense obsession with money, particularly with keeping vases and paintings. Tom disclosed the significant amount she had borrowed, leading to a snowball effect of accumulating interest by borrowing from one place to pay another. It's quite impressive making snowballs without any snow. This is the worst. What should I do? Well, since she borrowed it, it's not my problem. The responsibility to pay it back is hers. So if I divorce her, I won't be affected. That's unlikely. Why? Why do you think she married you? Because I'm handsome? There are other handsome men out there. She thought you were wealthy. She thought marrying a wealthy man would erase her debts. Turns out you're broke. If she lets you go now, she'll have to pay back everything herself. She won't let you go. That's ridiculous. So that's why she's always talking about money. Maybe so. I'm basically working for her now. Looks like it. This is too much. Well, you made your bed. You betrayed me and our child. Mirabelle probably thought you'd be quiet about her cheating, just like you were with me, but fairy tales don't happen that often. I've been tricked. It's like the fox and the raccoon tricking each other. Fox and raccoon. Yes, both of you were deceiving each other. What if some scary people come to collect the debts? That might happen. You should be prepared for that. No way, Kelly. Please help me. Hire me with a high salary. No way. You're not worth a high salary. You can't do anything. Don't say that. I'll really work hard this time. If not, lend me money for a divorce lawyer. Don't joke. If you want to talk about that, first pay the alimony and child support. Later, Tom, cut off from income, was constantly nagged by Mirabelle to work, but used to a life with me. He despised working. The thought of all his hard-earned money going to Mirabelle's debts made him not want to work, even joking that working would mean losing. They fought every day, but without money, they couldn't live. Tom borrowed money and tried to increase it through gambling, falling into a vicious cycle. Realizing this wasn't working, he finally found a part-time job. However, his naive attitude led to quitting every time a high school senior or an older woman employee scolded him, making no money at all. Meanwhile, Mirabelle racked up more debts, substantial amounts, before Tom even found out about it. She had disappeared without a trace. It turns out that the reason for the debt was to pay off her own debts, and she had borrowed the money under Tom's name. Tom, overwhelmed by the ballooning debt, apparently complained that he wasn't the one who borrowed the money. However, the lenders, being from the more dangerous side of money lending, just yelled at him, saying, "We don't care." And that was the end of it. He had to pay no matter what and came to me begging, but I refused. I haven't seen him since then, and no one knows what became of him. As for me, I got tired of high-rise living and bought a house, now enjoying harvesting in the home garden with my daughter. Seeing her happy face, I feel confident that divorcing was the right decision.